We are being joined this morning by Chief Omogiade Inoyugere Edokbolo. He is the CEO and, of course, the president of EPIA in Nigeria. We're going to be looking at how government policies, how they affect Nigeria, the impact of government policies in Nigeria, and, of course, how we can begin or how we should manage some of the effects that this, policies bring. We'll started from what is going on in the country, and of course we cascade it down to Edo State. I mean, we're talking about insecurity. If there's no security, you cannot even talk about business in the first place in any part of the country, not even in Edo State. All right, so Chief Omogiade Inoyugere, very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Mr. Evans. Thank you for having me today. And
No.
good morning, audience.
Okay. All right. So in the next few minutes, we're going to be looking at the policies of government, how the impact of government, the policies of government, how they impact on business in the country, and of course also come down to Edo State and see what is going on. So what would you say? I mean, you've been in this country for quite some time now, even if you travel afar sometimes and all that. So what are your impressions about policies of government in Nigeria?
Thank you once again for having me. Uh, Coming to look at the business industry as it relates to Nigeria, I think we don't need a rocket scientist to tell us the current business situations in Nigeria, most especially when it comes to do with the government policies. Now, before these administration brought on board, we know that the business industry was getting to its enjoying some certain benefits and you know uh, getting to its climax in a very slow pace. Um, but unfortunately, when this administration came in, there was a lot of uncertainty. A lot of business were expecting some positive policies or some policies that could open up the system to the global uh, trades. Uh, but uh, 6 months into the administration, unfortunately, the business industries started experiencing uh, some catastrophic turbulence in terms of policies that surrounds the business, and of which it was partially expected when a new business, a new government comes into power. Uncertainty would be the order of the day until there's some sort of settlement of that administration to determine uh, what advantage the new government policies uh, will bring into the business industry. Now, take a look to some of the policies of importation, for instance. Now, don't forget that Nigerian businesses has been doing a lot of foreign uh, importation of goods. But under Buhari, there was some sort of policy that gave attention to local produce, but there was still, about 60% uh, open up to importations of goods and services, if I may. But under this uh, Tinubu's administration, like I did mention earlier, unfortunately, the policies that came in uh, almost crippled the business industry. Uh, just to mention, let me just mention a few of those policies that has thrown the businesses off balance. Um, for instance, the energy policies. Now, most of the business in the country has been suffering catastrophically since the hiking of the tariff uh, by this current administration. without taking into consideration what these businesses are making, without introducing in uh, any sort of balance in their uh, in their pricing, and of which what happens when policies uh, are introduced to affect the production of the goods and services in a society is that the businesses will automatically increase their produce, the price of their produce or their services. And what happens when that happens, automatically the price and the pressure will be channeled to the general populace, which is the general public, and that is what has led to inflation in the country. Yes, whether or not there may be some sort of good intention or good master plan from the administration, but uh, unfortunately, I would say as an individual that that policy was not properly put in place because it threw the country off balance. I mean, increasing electricity tariff with about 200% is insane, irrespective of the fact that Nigerians they find themselves in a position where they're more like an elastic that appear to adjust to any situation. But looking at the country at large and how the country has been evolving with business, because the country was getting a bit more comfortable with the productions and services that they render to the public. Now, during the time this electricity tariff was increased, don't forget that business owners in this society, they are very private people. They're not very loud, and they don't really complain if you pay careful attention in the country. They just put the prices or the increase of whatever it is that the government has thrown at them, at the people. But at the same time, with some of these tariffs and the increment in diesel, the increment in fuel, like as you and I know, these businesses rely on either electricity or backup electricity, like you know, like diesel or fuel. But if you look at these three sectors that helps to generate energy, you realize that in this current administration, the three process was increased with more than 50 to 80%, which is not healthy for businesses. Now, coming to look at foreign investors who are mainly into manufacture. Now, Manufacturing Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, I could remember that they also took the NECA into court, longing to find a common ground for them to do some sort of negotiation. Even us in Edo State, uh, business and hotel and stakeholders forum, we also took NEC and BDC to court to try to find a way uh, for us to meet ourselves in a common ground of maybe about 50 to 60% in order for us to be able to struggle into this whole new tariff because it was thrown at us from nowhere and
Right. Okay,
expecting us to
Chief.
adjust to it.
Chief Omogede, thank you so much for that amazing, beautiful submission. I love to say, but right now let's take it a little bit further and also have some comparison, sort of, because we've been made to understand that government actually is a continuum. And I remember during the previous administration of Muhammadu Buhari, there were some sort of grants being given to SMEs, to help them manage their business. Stuff like market money, traders money. I don't know if that is still on at this point. And what do you think regarding having a continuation of some of those, interesting policies to help SMEs in Nigeria?
Mentioned correctly. Obviously, I'm not very abreast with the fact that whether or not that benefit is still ongoing. Yes, we are aware of that under Buhari's administration. Look, this administration is only, uh, uh, from the policies we are seeing, it's only designed for the benefit of the super elite. And, the trickle down effect is actually affecting small businesses. Look, small businesses are what drives any society. If small businesses are not empowered, if all these programs are not put in place, they may have been some sort of small businesses empowerment program that this administration has put in place, of which I'm not aware of it. I don't know. But what I know is that, businesses are struggling, and you see the power of purchase is very low in the society. The purchase energy is highly depressed. But I think there has been a little bit of, you know, uh, measuring a step up for the past 2 months now. People are 2 to 3 months. Nigerians are gradually, as usual, getting to adjust, which is what they know how to do best, to the current harsh economic situation. There is no one out there who is going to say that they're not going through this, this pain. And this has turned a lot of, investors from diaspora, of both Nigerians in diasporas and all other investors has placed them on hold with a lot of uncertainty. I mean, when they do their check and balance, considering the power, epileptic power structure in the system, that has put some certain people on hold. I'm not saying that in some other sector that the administration is not doing well, but looking at the business as the hardcore of the country. I think this administration has a whole lot to do by shifting its paradigm from the super elite to the small businesses, and by coming up with numerous programs to empower the small businesses. So that's my position at this point. The small businesses are not enjoying this administration at
Okay.
all, and that needs the federal government needs to seriously look at it.
All right, Chief. Because when we talk about policies and all that, we understand that about 29 fiscal, policies that this administration has introduced. And of course, one of them is the student loan program. Now, the idea behind that student loan scheme is to enable students to take loan, go to school and even go into business, even as they go to school and all that. Now, what exactly we are trying to ask is that what is really going on? Because when we talk about these policies, we really don't find them impacting on the business situation in Nigeria. Is it the implementers of the policies that are not doing the right thing, or those that are supposed to be the direct beneficiaries of the policies that are not taking advantage of these policies?
Yes, thank you, Evans. But you and I know that the Nigerian factor when it comes to enforcement of any kinds of policy. Now, it's one thing to introduce a policy. As a businessman, I will tell you that, that the way to manage business in the West uh, needs a quadruple uh, 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 energy or enforcement policies to manage one in Nigeria. So managing business abroad and managing a business in Nigeria, in terms of enforcement of policy, you need like to triple your enforcement policies. Now, if considering the fact that the federal government has introduced some sort of business loan policies, which is a calculated attempt ordinarily to empower the students or empower the common man and all of that. But unfortunately, when you look at when you look at the statistics of the folks who benefited from this, if you draw your statistics from just your neighborhood or even on the streets, I mean, you guys are the journalists out there, the media professionals. When you draw your statistics, you realize that on a scale of 1 to 10, it's not up to 1% in those states using it as a case study that has enjoyed the benefit of this. Now, some of the factors that it could be responsible for this is the inability for the federal government to actually create or set up some sort of enforcement agency or implementation agency to ensure that these policies or these programs that was put in place designed to benefit the regular students or the general publics are actually uh, being enforced or implemented to the grassroots. And, with this sort of agency or a committee or whatever you may call it, they are supposed to be put together and to be doing a direct reports to the minister, through the minister. And also the president is supposed to have his ears on the implementations of this, considering the fact that, the economy has already put the citizens in a very dicey situation. The, 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 the presidency is supposed to prioritize that particular agency to ensure that Nigerians are actually benefiting this. But unfortunately, I don't see that happening. I mean, since they introduced that policy, pay careful attention. Initially, some of the policies that the federal government introduced, we were all the business owners and Nigerians were, getting incited gradually at a point, some sort of independent energy strategy, and also this student loan and couple of other policies that was introduced. It came in very juicy to the ears, but unfortunately the trickle down effect and the enforcement of that it appears like dead on arrival. I mean, when a policy is introduced, like I did mention earlier, considering the fact that this is Nigeria, enforcement, structure need to be put in place to ensure that there is a clear feedback on the enforcement or the implementation of such policies to at least 80% assure that these benefits or these programs are getting to the people who really need it the most.
Okay, so with all of these policies that we've seen so far so good in Nigeria, one would begin to, actually ask the question really, what could be the problem if we're to raise some of the performances of the policies we're seeing so far? Could it be that they're not effective enough, or maybe, just maybe, we need more policies for businesses to thrive in the country?
Well, policies uh, made by the federal government or the president might, like I did mention earlier, might have a good intention. But you have to understand the country you are in. You have to understand the people. You have to understand the mentality. We are living in a very corrupt society. We don't need rocket scientists to tell us that. I mean, you unfortunately, the line in this society is uh, when somebody tell you good morning, you're going to have to check the time again to see whether or not it's actually morning. We all know this. Let's not pretend. Unfortunately, we have so many hypocrites in this society. The problem of Nigeria is Nigerians, not only the federal government or the state government. It's Nigerians themselves. I mean, the leaders of this country are also Nigerians. So they all know that they emerge from the society, the communities, and the locals. I mean, and the communities. That's where we all emerge from, and we know the challenges that we are facing in our businesses, locally, communities, and all that. And that one of those businesses, I mean, one of those problems is the ability to prioritize the interests of the people. Look, the prioritizing the people is supposed to be the ultimate goal here. But unfortunately, we Nigerians has not been able in history to enjoy the federal government, not only this administration, the federal government's prioritization of the people by putting the people's interests first. But look, Nigeria is a very um, interesting company. I mean, country. Nigeria is a very happy country. Nigerians are very comfortable people by nature. They can adapt to any situation. They just need only a little to thrive. They have the energy, they have the willingness, they're comfortable with their country. They love their country, irrespective of the fact that, most Nigerians uh, are checking out of the country. But irrespective of that, those of them who are abroad, they are now still very comfortable there. They still prefer to come back to Nigeria, if I may shock you here, considering statistics, and if you draw your own statistics there. But now coming back home again to this said policies that is not being properly implemented, I think the federal government should open its ears, like really open its ears to what is going on with the implementation of the policies that they have put in place. Now,
Okay,
in
Chief,
history,
yes, so that we
yeah,
don't belong, yeah, because of time now. Now, let's cascade it down to Edo State because we're trying to manage our time here. Now, recently, we understand that you reacted to the consumer tax, that the Edo State government increased. Talking about the Edo State governor now, Senator Mode Okbebulo. And of course, we also understand that you are the secretary and, of course, the chairman of Hoteler Stakeholders Forum in Edo State. Now, we understand also that one of the responsibilities of any government is to provide an enabling environment for business to thrive and for businessmen, to find some comfort even in their business. Your reaction, if I quote your reaction now, is that it is a devastating blow to business already struggling to stay afloat. Now, you and I know that one of the major responsibilities of government is to create an enabling environment for business to thrive. And of course, for government to do this, the government has to build infrastructures such as good roads, provide security and all that. And government needs money to do this. So if a state government comes on board, trying to increase a consumer tax, then reactions here and there. Are we not trying to take government aback? Are we helping government to help the situation? I want to react to that.
well, thank you, Evans. First, let me correct one impression there. I'm not the chairman and at the same time the secretary.
Okay.
I'm the acting chairman of Business and Hotelier Stakeholders Forum, Edo State chapter. We have our secretary, Dr. Osaidu, as the secretary of the
Okay.
organization. Now, yes, you are very right that it is the responsibility of the any government to create an enabling environment and, you know, enforce taxations in order to have enough resources to uh, to strive as a government. But at the same time, we must also look at the provision of the law and the constitution as well, to see what taxation is all about. What we did was to appeal to the state government to scrap uh, consumer tax, because that is not consumer tax is not illegal taxation. It was introduced by Comrade Adam Soshomole, if you can remember vividly, in the past during his administration, and a couple of organizations challenged it, of which that was won in the court. But for some reason, that surfaced from nowhere. Even during Governor Obaseki, we also did, appeal to that government at the time that, you know, the government at that time of Obaseki did reduce consumer tax. Now, another thing we want to appeal to the state government as business owners is that they should understand that some of these side taxes, what it does is that it appears like a double taxation. Yes, and also the state government to also organize itself in a way and manner that they can list out all the legal taxes that is applicable in the states, and thereby partnering with business organizations or stakeholders in this society, so we can have a clarity about how many, for instance, legal taxes is applicable in the state, or calling on business owners for stakeholder, business and government and business stakeholders meeting in order to determine what will be a very suitable or convenient to for the businesses that is applicable in the state. The BHSF has reached out to the state government, but we're still currently waiting for their acknowledgement in order to meet up with the state government to have this subject matter looked into, and also with a lot of proposals as business owners of the state in order to help the government, prevent some sort of illegal taxations in the states, and some sort of to review some sort of policies that is currently hurting uh, the state. So for consumer taxation, that should be a taxation that should be scrapped in the states. And even if the state government chooses to maintain such tax, they should reduce it to the barest minimum, because there are other taxes that the businesses are already paying, considering the electricity hike in the state, considering federal taxes, considering all sort of taxes. There's more than 18 different to 20 different taxes that is rocking business owners in the state. Now, an average business in Edo State right now pays more than 35% of their earnings for electricity tariff alone. Now, let's not forget that this is not a manufacturing state. This is more like a service state where hospitality is becoming the order of the day, and petrol stations, and lately we're beginning to see recreation centers emerge. But coming to look at it, I understand the state government. I mean, the governor of Mondo, who is a very gentleman, has just won his case in court, and I know there has been some sort of distractions here and there. We know he has a very liberal-hearted mind from assessment. But at the same time, we believe that at this time that he will be a bit more settled, that he would, pay attention, because any pressure you put on business, what it does is to reverse that pressure to the general populace by increasing it. So we will use this measure or this medium to to appeal to the state governor to ensure that his policies that he's introducing in the state is firstly business friendly.
Okay.
And don't forget, yes, that business is the engine of any economy.
All right,
So
Absolutely. Now,
yeah, just
right.
before I know, sorry, just before I know come on board with her question. Now, I think subsequently on this program we're going to get somebody, because something that you said, that the issue of consumer tax is illegal. You said so, that it was Adam Soshomole that introduced that. So subsequently we'll be able to get somebody from Adam Soshomole or from the state government to react to that. I know.
So during the course of your submission, you made mention of the fact that Nigerians are Nigerians' problem. And I vividly remember what happened during the inauguration of President Bola Tinubu, where he said subsidy is gone, and we saw how a lot of Nigerians reacted to it. Now the issue here is the price controlling system. Do you think the federal government should begin to toe or head towards that line, and how would it help, the business environment right here in Nigeria?
yeah, price control should be sacrosanct with any government. What it does is help balance the equation between the sellers and the consumers. So that is something that any government will want to put in place. But you see, the problem we have in Nigeria is that most of these governments have wrong advisors. They may have a serious good intention, like the policies of this new administration now, which is laudable. I mean, of Mondo Ewolo, introducing a policy to get rid of the prostitutes off of the street in Edo State, which and drugs off of the street as well. It's a laudable policy, and also the policies that introduce some sort of reduction of fraternity in the state. It is a laudable policy. There's nothing wrong with those policies. Those are laudable policies if made. But however, if you look at the implementation, uh, it raises another concern about whether or not it's being enforced professionally. That's another point, because a good policy can be uh, enforced that is enforced unprofessionally will now begin to appear like it's not a good policy. Now let's look at getting rid of drugs in the streets and getting rid of prostitutes uh, on the street, which I tag as an individual as a good thing to do. But let's not forget that Edo State, there has been, Edo State is a hospitality state, if I may. I will use Holland as an example of a state like Edo State, irrespective of how you look at it. In the Western world, some of these, you know, uh, characters are way more in the Western world as a developed society, where you find, some of these people, some of these female, uh, engaging in some sort of prostitution. And let's not forget that prostitution is about one of the biggest profession in the world. But when they looked at this whole prostitution uh, problems in their country, or their classified states, what they did was to look at the wrong aspect of it. Because the truth of the matter is that you can never go get rid of prostitution. It's not possible. But you can limit it and classify it and come up with laws that will help to curb uh, uh, some of these characters to suit the to suit the society. Take, for instance, policies like if you are setting up a license for people who are valid to engage in this sort of uh, uh, habit or this sort of business, like is applicable in the West, where they obtain license. And to obtain this license, first of all, the concerns of the populace or the society must be taken into cognizance. Like, for instance, ensuring that these individuals who want to engage in this type of business is 20 years, 25 years or 30 years and older, for instance, and also that their medical whatnot is in place that is set up by government agencies to verify or to check to ensure that their medical physicals are in order, and also if you pay attention to that, that will be another way for the government to raise a revenue. That if you don't have this license, you can engage in this sort of act. Now, drug itself is something that is totally condemnable by youths. The policies, the enforcement part of it should be taken very seriously by not only enforcing it and getting them arrested. That doesn't totally eradicate the drug habit, but by setting up some sort of group homes, setting up some uh, uh, agencies that could help, uh, that could help to manage their habit situation in order for these people to go through these rehabilitations and
Yes.
have it clean.
Yeah.
Because addiction of drug
Yeah.
is not just something you can tell somebody, oh, you're under arrest, and go to the station and the police will collect money from them and then they're back on the street. No, this is a habit related matters.
All right, Chief
Those are
Mogadi,
yeah.
yeah, as we wrap up now, so what are your last words, I mean, to the state governments and the federal government, as we'll be talking about the effects of these government policies, how they impact on business owners and, of course, on business itself. So let's start from Edo State now. What are your last words to the state government, then take it up
Well,
to the federal government?
my last word is number one. I want to encourage this government to be tax friendly, most especially in its take up, considering the fact that the economy right now is in a catastrophic state, so that business cannot continue to fold up. Because statistics are showing us that businesses are shutting down, people are losing their businesses, businesses are crippling. So to step down on their double taxation, and also with these policies, very good policies that the state government has introduced, that the enforcement process should be friendly in a way and manner that it could actually yield a result. Like I did mention earlier before, that they should set up some sort of, for drugs, some sort of rehabilitation homes in order to rehabilitate these individuals and not just see them as criminals, rehabilitate them. Then number three is the issue of the prostitutes that are out there. They should come up with some sort of licensing and standards for people who are valid to be able to engage in this sort of business, because you cannot completely eliminate it. By so doing, that will create some sort of revenue to the state
Okay.
government, as
Uh,
it's also applicable in the
Uh,
West.
uh, all right, so because of time, so I want to say thank you, Chief Omogiade in Edokbolo, for joining us on the program today. We're talking about business policies in Nigeria, and of course how they impact on business and the effects, and also managing some of these effects.